Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Lucas du Plessis. I'm the project leader of this year's MSS and MRN students on the investigation of friction in a steam model engine. I'm really excited about the project and I wish you all the very best of luck. I hope you find it interesting and that you will be successful. So I'm standing in front of the Sasol Laboratory for Structural Mechanics, and when you go through the door, you need to fill in the COVID-19 registration form or register. You need to sanitize your hands, then go through the second door and turn right. Okay, and then you move into the laboratory. On the left hand side there are offices, and on the right hand side you see a desk. There's some equipment that's not ours, and then there's the experimental setup that you will be using, that I've set up. Alright, so the main feature is obviously the pipe guiding the falling weight. It's strapped to the table. I can show you what the weight looks like. So there's a weight in here. If you put your hand in there, there's a weight and it's attached to a string. Okay, and I'll say more about checking the weight, etc. in a bit. Okay, but it goes all the way up, almost touching the roof, 6 meters high. And there's also a PVC pipe that guides the string and leading it to the steam engine. Okay, the steam engine is attached to this test station, if you like. The string is attached to this pulley over here. The diameter of the pulley is 20 millimeters, and the string is attached to the end of the pulley. Okay, so this is the view from the other side of the table. There's a test station onto which the steam engine is bolted. Okay, and this is the pulley. As I said, that diameter over there is 20 millimeters, and you can see the string it's attached to the side of the pulley. Okay, then what you will also notice is the flywheel with these zebra strips on it. The zebra strips are there to measure angular velocity using this sensor over here. There's this very small gap between the sensor and the flywheel, so be very careful. The sensor should not move between your measurements, so just leave it and don't touch and don't adjust it. It's fixed to this magnetic base. Okay, there's also a second magnetic base with a clamp on it, and we'll say more about that in a while. Okay, so what you will also notice about the steam engine is that there's no piston. There shouldn't be a piston in the steam engine. So when you rotate the crankshaft, the cylinder does not also rotate. This bag over here will be on the desk or on the table, and you will select which piston you want to insert in the steam engine, and I'll show you in a bit how you do that. Okay, and how you identify the different steam engines. They've got serial numbers. If we can just focus on this one. Maybe I must just zoom in a bit. Okay, so there you can see this is serial number 6, and there are a whole range of serial numbers. Let me just take out one more to show you. That's, for example, serial number 13. They are marked at the bottom. All right, so okay, then also part of the test station is this safety cover. Now, when it's in this position, it is locked. Okay, and this is the position where it should be when you do your tests. And when you want to open it, you need to lift and rotate. Okay, I'm just going to show it again. So it's locked, you need to lift it and then you can rotate it. Okay, what's very important about the test station are these two clamps over here. So please don't loosen them. It's critical that everything stays in position because then we know that our sensor that I spoke about, this laser sensor measuring the speed, will all be set up. Everything is, or the magnetic base is, in any case, it's locked on the steel plate, and the steel plate and the test station is clamped to the table. All right, so then another important aspect about the test station is this lubricator. It's filled with oil, and I'll show you in a little bit how to fill it. It's critical that you check the level continuously or regularly and fill it when necessary. Okay, then the other important aspect of the test station is this valve. And you can open and close it, and at the moment it is in the closed position. Okay, so moving over to the left of the test station with the steam engine, there's a laptop attached to a security cable. In order to switch it on, you just switch on, press this button here. Okay, let's just give it a moment to boot up. All right. And we'll log in a while. To the left of the laptop, there are a few laboratory equipment. There's the quantum, and then there are two power supplies. There's the plug, the multi-plug, and there's the transformer or converter for the compressor. Below the desk, there's the compressor. All right, and I'll say, while we're at the compressor, let's just... Okay, so you will notice this paper towel at the bottom, and it's a light brown color. That's because of the rust, slight rust inside the tank. Okay, just take away the paper towel and make sure that this valve is closed. It must be in the horizontal position, fully closed. All right, this paper towel... Yeah, we can keep it here. We don't need to throw it away just yet. Okay, so then you can switch on the converter. You must obviously make sure that this multi-plug, the converter is plugged into the lead directly. So then we switch on the multi-plug. It must be on. You will notice that the power supplies, the one is on 5 volt and the one is on 12 volts. Okay. Now we can log into the computer. Okay, and the password is simply quantum. All small letters. Right. Okay, and what we then do is we click on this Catman Easy. Software on the desktop. Just give it a second to open. Okay, the Teams we can obviously close. Yes, there we go. I didn't double click it, now I did. So it's loading the Catman software. Okay, over here, when it asks you to activate the software, you can just say remind me later. And then we click on load an existing DAC project. So we click there, and here you will see the last one, the 1 second from the bottom is 210301 falling weight. So you open that. Okay, and what you will notice is that there are 3 channels that are active, and there's a no signal at the bottom, which is right. So it's the top sensor, the bottom, the speed, and then no signal. Okay, so in order to insert the piston conrod into the cylinder, just showing you once again, we're using now serial number 6. If you can get it to focus. There we go. Right, so you remove it from this sleeve like that. There's a bearing, cylindrical roller bearing pressed into the bottom, into the conrod part, and this top part is the piston, and these grooves are for lubrication. Okay, so that's what the piston looks like. Now we're going to insert it. Now at the back of at the rear end of the cylinder, there's a spring, and I can quickly show it to you. Okay, there's a spring that pulls the cylinder in contact with the frame. Okay, so if it can get stuck, and then all you need, especially if you just push here, it can get stuck. Typically that will be when this spring engages with the thread at the bottom and doesn't want to release. So all you need to do is with your thumb and index finger, just pull it back a little bit, and there we go. Now you can push the cylinder all the way to the front. Okay. Now with the cylinder in that position, we can now insert the piston conrod, and how we do that, you need to rotate it. You need to rotate the piston conrod so that the bearing can now engage with the crankshaft. You first engage the piston part in the cylinder, and then slowly releasing the cylinder and rotating the piston conrod so you need to either lift or lower the piston inside the cylinder so that the bottom end of the piston conrod can engage with the crankshaft. Okay, so you need to rotate, lift, etc., and there we go. Now everything is engaged and you're ready to go. Okay, so below the desk, next to the compressor, there's a can of oil. It's hydraulic oil. Okay, so we've got the oil on the table. We also have this funnel over here, and it's wise to get some paper towels. It's also just behind the desk, just close to where the compressor is. Right. So now, in order to fill the oil, this let me stand on the other side. So you pull down this blue trigger, if you like, or switch or bracket. You pull it down and rotate the container at the bottom. You rotate it. I guess this will be clockwise, looking at it from the top. So you rotate it about 30 degrees, and then you pull it down. Careful. There we go. It's disengaged. All right. Okay, and then you simply put the container on the table, and you can use the funnel very carefully. To open the oil, you need to push down on the lid and rotate it, and then using two hands and looking at it from the top very carefully, you can add some oil. I did spill a little bit. Oh goodness, now I spilled a lot. Okay, so that's why the paper towel is a good idea. This is now a slight mess, but doesn't matter. So be very careful. be very careful when you fill this container. Okay, so I've cleaned the mess, and I just take a paper towel, wipe out the funnel as well, and you can put the paper towel inside the funnel and just leave it on the desk. Right, then take the oil back. We put it down next to the compressor on the ground. Right, then we take our container very carefully, and we need to lock it or engage it with the rest of the lubricator. So you need to rotate it. If you can't put it in perfectly horizontal or perfectly aligned, you need to rotate it until you feel it engages. Alright, let me just show that again. If you push it in straight, rotate it clockwise and slightly push up until it engages. Now you need to wiggle it and push it in. It's a bit stubborn. There we go. Now it went in all the way, and now you rotate it counterclockwise until it locks in position. Alright. Okay, so we are now ready to start with our test. We've got the piston conrod in the cylinder. We made sure that the lubricator is filled. All our electronic switches and the compressor is switched on. Just a note that the compressor will automatically switch on and off depending on what the pressure is inside the reservoir of the compressor, the pressure tank. Right. So the next step for us is to just make sure that our falling weight is okay. So we need to walk around. Okay, so I've come around the table now, and I'm about to just make sure that the falling weight is actually we can use it. Now you push your hand in here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it. I'll try. Okay, so there's a cushion or sponge at the bottom that actually absorbs the fall. Okay, and if you push your hand in there, the weight will be on top of that sponge. Now this weight weighs just over 150 gram, and I've got a cable tie. It's 150.6 to be exact. I've got a cable tie. This black thing is a cable tie. Just making sure that the weights stay in position. Otherwise, if I lift, I'm not sure if I can do that with one hand. I'll try. Yeah. So there you can see I've lifted the cable tie, and now this weight can actually come out. All right. So just to make sure it stays in position, I just push down on this cable tie, and now it's nicely secured. All right. If you're happy with the weight, and you can see the string at the top, obviously, just carefully position it inside the 110 millimeter pipe, PVC pipe, on the cushion. Let me see if I can give you a view of that. All right, so there in the background you can see the weight on the sponge. Okay, so now we're ready to do the test. And I would just like to zoom into the steam engine. That's where the action is going to be now. Specifically the string and the clamp and the pulley that's on the steam engine. All right, so let me show you. So what you do is you take the string and very carefully just pull on it. The weight might be a little bit sticky, like there, over there. Just give it a gentle pull until you feel it goes up into the hydraulic tube. Okay, there you go, you can feel it. Just pull it. Just very gently, and then at the top you will feel it gets you can't go beyond a certain maximum height. Then with your one hand you can put the string on this aluminium base and use this toggle clamp to clamp the string, because remember, if you now leave the string, the weight will fall down. Okay, and let me just zoom out quickly. Yeah, I think you can see that the string is actually hanging down the side of the table. Okay, so what we do now is we take the string with one hand, and there's this spanner purposely made. It's a piece of wood with a dowel pin glued in, okay, and it's attached to the test table, the test jig. You engage it with the hole on the side of the pulley. Alright, you can see there it goes in very easily, and then rotate it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, looking from this side. We rotate it counterclockwise and we wind the rope very neatly on the pulley. Okay, and we go all the way to the side. Now the string, and I'll show you a photograph. Maybe what I'll do is there we go, very carefully, then we make a second layer of string on the pulley. Very neatly we wind the string on the pulley. Great. Almost there. There we go. Okay, and then you take the scanner out. Right. Let me just show you what it looks like. Okay, so there you get the idea. Very neatly wound 2 layers of string on the pulley. Okay, so now everything is set for the actual test. If the screensaver goes on, you can just move the mouse. Just make sure that the voltage, that you've got green lights over here. If there is a problem, you need to close. If it gives you an error message, you need to close this Catman program and open it again. Okay, as I've shown earlier in the video. Right. Okay, so the next step for us is to open this valve. You will hear a hissing sound. Okay, and that's the lubricator lubricating not only the steam engine, but also goes up all the way to the top of the hydraulic tube. It lubricates the hydraulic tube. Okay, now what you need to do is you just click on this start button. It will give you this message, calibration data of some channels that expired. You just ignore that, and you can see there's data being read, and then you open the toggle switch. Here we go. The cell at the bottom, stop. Okay, we can close the valve. Okay, now what's very important is for you, when you save the data, in this drop down menu, you select MS Excel binary, right? And then you say save data now. Okay, so we've saved the data. And now we can open our data file, and let me just show you how to do that. So in File Explorer, we go to Documents, there's HBM, Catman Easy, there's a data subfolder, okay? You can just show it in the latest. You can change the sequence so that the latest file, the most recent file, is at the top. This is this binary file. Okay, we open that. Right, and this is now the data. The first column is time in seconds. The second column is the sensor at the top of the hydraulic tube. The third column is the sensor at the bottom of the hydraulic tube, and the fourth column is speed. That's the reading from the zebra strip, and the last column you can just ignore. Okay, now from row 4 all the way to about, I think it's row 49, yes, we can just delete. Okay, now you select a few rows of column B and C. You go to conditional formatting, you say highlight cell rules less than, and you enter the value 1. It will be highlighted in light red with dark red text, that's fine. You click OK. Now without deselecting those cells, you go to conditional formatting again, and you click on manage rules, and now this 8, it goes down to row 8. You just delete that and you type in 1 with 6 zeros, and you say apply. Okay, and I'll show you in a bit why that's important. So now it's basically, the reason for that, what we've done just now, is to see where the falling weight went past the top sensor and past the bottom sensor. So, okay, so I'm clicking on the right here, the slider, and carefully going down, looking for a series of red cells. Alright, so let's just see. Here we go. Okay, so with those red cells, I select one and then I use the page up just for better control. Page down again. Okay, here we go. So what I do now is 1 or 2 rows above where the red starts, I click on the far left, Shift Control Home, and then leave Control, keep Shift in and use the down arrow. Okay, and all those rows, right click and I delete them. Okay. Alright, so now I do the same for, here we go, here we go. There we go. Great job. Okay. So what we can do here is just the row just below where the red starts. We highlight it, shift control end, and we can delete all that data. Okay. And now if you want to know how long did it take the weight to fall, we take this 12,148. You can copy that. And we take this 6,86. And then we simply subtract the bottom one from the top one. So it took 5,3 seconds for that falling weight to fall from the top sensor to the bottom sensor. Alright, so you will obviously do additional processing of the speed. Okay, so then lastly, once you've completed your tests, then please just switch off everything. Switch off this voltage converter, this power supply over there, and then go down to the compressor. And then with this paper towel below the valve, just open it slightly. You will hear the air blow out. And you just let it blow out until it's until the gauges are at 0. Basically, it will stop blowing, obviously, because there's no more air, and then just close the valve.